Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Well, listen, today was a good, productive day for law enforcement. And for one chief reason, and that is we had a significant operation in which all of our guys and our ladies that participated came back unharmed. And anytime we engage in something like this, that's one of the foremost things in our mind, is to make sure that our people come back. They come back safe. But we do want to say today that a team of over 250 agents and officers from law enforcement agencies across our state came together this morning to begin the process of dismantling violent gangs, removing dangerous people from the streets with the goal of making our community a safer place. These agents also took drugs and influential, dangerous people off the street. We believe that endanger the lives of law-abiding citizens and endanger the future of our children with their toxic influence. Since I assumed this position, the Attorney General has made it clear that targeting violent offenders will be a priority for this office, and we're committed to that priority. Today's operation is a victory over gun, gang, and drug violence, but I want to make it clear this is just the start of what the combined resources of these law enforcement agencies can do. And so today we are unsealing 13 indictments and 2 complaints in which 49 charged individuals have been charged with criminal activity. There are 40 people in custody, 21 from the operation today, 14 from arrests last week, 5 already in state custody. There were 21 guns seized, body armor seized, 10 pounds of cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, crack, marijuana, and $50,000 in drug proceeds. And so I'm going to ask Stephen Azam, the special agent in charge with the DEA, to come to the podium and talk to you a little bit about his organization and what they do today.
Thank you, Cody. You know, as Cody mentioned this morning, we had over 250 law enforcement officers out on the street. That is a very large undertaking. I would have to commend the law enforcement partners that stand behind me for their involvement and their energy in this case, because without them, we wouldn't have been able to do this. These arrested today serve as a warning and send a clear message that we will relentlessly pursue these violent criminal and drug trafficking organizations that plague our communities, that continue to plague our communities. The Department of Justice has sent out a mandate for us to clean up and do our job within the city, make our streets safer. And that's what DEA is doing with our law enforcement partners, and that's what we did today. I'm very proud to say, and I feel that we made a difference today. When you execute this many search warrants and you arrest these many individuals and indict them, you send a very, very clear message that our communities and our neighborhoods are ours. They're not the drug traffickers. They are ours, and we are going to take them back. I commend the U.S. Attorney's Office for their effort for doing this case, because this is a heck of an undertaking for them, and that's what we need, and that's what our communities and our neighborhoods should understand. They deserve their streets back to them, and that's where it belongs. So thank you, and I appreciate this opportunity to be up here today.
Thank you all very much. Diane Upchurch with the FBI. First, I want to thank all the partners up here. All of this is possible because of the strong partnerships we have with everybody here. We appreciate the tireless efforts and the strong commitment of everybody that was involved in these arrests today against these violent gang members. We are determined to hold these gangs and these violent offenders accountable for their actions. And we will make sure that every one of our communities in Arkansas is safe. And it was a commitment from all of our partners up here. And on behalf of the FBI and Get Rock, I want to thank Little Rock DEA for all of their hard work. We also want to thank them for their outstanding collaboration with Get Rock. The Get Rock Task Force is comprised of the FBI, the U.S. Marshals Service, ATF, Little Rock Police Department, North Little Rock Police Department, Arkansas State Police, Arkansas Community Corrections, Arkansas National Guard Counter-Drug Task Force. We've also had great assistance from the Arkansas State Fusion Center. So I want to thank all of those partners for being involved. It's been a huge undertaking, but we've made great strides. Together as one team, we have done some great work. But there's a lot of great work left to do, and we will stay committed to it and stay committed to protecting our communities in Arkansas. Thank you.
I'm Mayor Mark Stodola from the City of Little Rock. I want to say on behalf of the citizens of Little Rock how grateful we are for the tremendous effort that we've seen occur in the early morning hours of this morning with the arrest of 49 very dangerous individuals that have plagued our streets for many weeks and years. And we're so thankful for that collective effort. 250 agents, 49 individuals, all prior felony records taken off the streets. You know, one of the things that troubles us so much when we're serving in public office is the comments and cries and concerns that neighbors have reaching out to us on why they're worried about their neighborhoods, why they're worried about their children. The drive-by shootings that we've seen in the past, that thankfully we've seen a large subsidence in so far, and that's because of the collective efforts of a variety of things. Clearly, this law enforcement effort goes a tremendous way to putting a huge dent in those operations and making those neighborhoods, or some of our most challenged neighborhoods, safer for the people that live there. And so I want to say that when we get these comments of shots fired, we know that starting tomorrow we're going to be a little bit safer in a lot of these neighborhoods. We're going to know, and I think our citizens are going to be reassured that what's happened here is not just the end, but really the beginning of a continuation of working very hard to deal with those criminal elements. We know how infectious the drug trade is on communities. We know that it drives crime, it drives violence. And the ability to take this number of people off the streets is going to have a great salutary effect. And so, again, to the multiple agencies, federal, state, local, I want to say thank you on behalf of the citizens of Little Rock for a job well done, and we're going to continue that effort. This is not going to be the last time you see this group assembled together. There'll be future opportunities for us to begin to continue this hard work of taking these violent criminals off the streets. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is a part of what I would describe as effective partnerships. If you were to put that in terms of what is a partnership to a local PD, specifically an urban community, largest city in your state, most diverse city in your state, and also one of the most challenging cities in our region. So we cannot have sustained success in Little Rock without effective partnerships. And to an agency, whether it be local, state, or federal, when we asked for help, the universal response was, what can we do to help? And they did that not only through kind of buzzwords, and you know how we say to each other, call me if you need something. Well, when we called these folks, they actually did something. And it culminated in one of the initiatives that you've seen today, which will certainly not be the last. But I want you to understand that we have to have these collective efforts, and we also need the community to continue to stay engaged in what's going on, because much of the things that happened today is because of the community assisting us in some of the things that we had. I also don't want to walk away from here without giving you a couple of examples kind of down memory lane that we would all like to forget. But I think that we need to make sure that we're mindful of these things so that we don't take our foot off of the gas. Asen King, 2-year-old, shot in the back seat riding with his grandmother. Ramiah Reed, 3-year-old, rolling shootout on the road. She's a passenger in the car. She was killed. Shirley Jackson, 60-year-old woman in her home running a daycare. Stray bullet comes through the wall, kills her. Eunice Lopez, 27-year-old mom holding her 2-year-old daughter in her driveway, shot and killed. Mariah Cunningham, 24-year-old, Aaliyah Fisher and Elijah Fisher, 5 and 3-year-olds killed in our city. Now, these are examples of violence all over the spectrum. And we have to have a comprehensive approach to try to address these many things that are going on in our city. We cannot have sustained success without these partnerships. I really want to thank all of our state, federal, and local partners, the U.S. attorneys, Mr. Jangley's office, and the media. Some of the times when we've had these cases where we've been stumped, the results have been good for us when you have illuminated that and people have responded to some of the things that that we put out. So I'm grateful for today. You know, and this is football country, so today is a touchdown for us. But the thing about this football game, there's more than 4 quarters. It's like a marathon. We have to get up tomorrow and go get the individuals who are planning to try to replace the individuals that we picked up today. We're well aware of that, and we have a plan for those individuals as well. So keep us in prayer. We will continue to try to continue some of these good efforts and look forward to more examples of this like in the future.
Major Carl Minden with the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office. I'm head of our Criminal Investigations Division. Obviously, we're very involved with the Get Rock Task Force, and our DA Task Force officers were instrumental in some of the things that transpired. This is a culmination of several months of work. You know, there's a lot of cooperation between state, federal, and local. And just to reiterate what my counterpart said, you know, this is not unusual here. You know, in Pulaski County, there's great cooperation amongst the agencies. So this is not the first time, as the mayor said, we'll be back. We've been here before. The cooperation is great here. And, you know, we were able to identify these individuals, get them off the street, illegal guns, drugs, violent criminals. But what you see here is the importance of these partnerships. We work together, we're going to make Pulaski County a better community. It's not over. You know, as the chief said, you know, we've only just begun this. We know that this investigation is going to keep going. Violent crime does not end with this operation, but I can tell you right now, if you're a criminal, violent criminal in Central Arkansas, we're coming for you. And just know that you have all these resources here, and they're aimed at you. So, thank you.
You know, violent crime has a face and a name, and you're going to see those pictures today, these names that we've indicted. But sometimes we forget, so do victims. Joanne Rhodes is here today. Miss Rhodes, if you could stand up for us. And I appreciate Chief Buckner talking about our victims, because that's why we do what we do. Last week, Miss Rhodes' son 4 years ago was killed through violent crime. A week ago, she was driving down 12th Street after dropping her grandson off at the library, the grandson she's raising because her son was killed, and a bullet slammed through her windshield. People like Miss Rose deserve to be able to drive down the street without bullets slamming through her windshield. And folks, that's why we're responding, because of the victims and because of our community and what they deserve from us. Consequently, the United States Attorney's Office will focus on the individuals committing violent crimes and hurting our people. To those who have held our communities hostage to your violence, to those who have declared war in our neighborhoods with little fear of retribution, we are coming for you. I consider you to be a clear and present danger and an enemy to the families in our community, an enemy to our children whose future you seek to destroy with your toxic influence, and an enemy to economic growth that is necessary for our community to thrive. It is my stated intention to seek your removal from our community by any means available to me under federal law. And so to do that, I will use all the resources at our disposal. And today I've called on some of those resources. Here today I'd like to introduce 6 elected county prosecutors who are here with me. Larry Jegley of Pulaski County, Luke Ferguson from Faulkner County, Ken Cassidy, Saline County, Chuck Graham, Lonoke County, Kyle Hunter, Jefferson County, and Becky Reed, White County. These prosecutors and Attorney General Leslie Rutledge have pledged their support in real terms by offering 13 prosecutors who we intend to certify as Special Assistant United States Attorneys who have committed to handling at least 5 gun cases in this district at the federal level. We want to work with Pulaski County to review every gun case in order to determine whether the state or the federal government is the most effective agency to handle the case. And I'd like to ask Larry to come up and speak to that program and kind of the role that our elected prosecutors are going to play.
Thank you, Cody. I'll be brief in the interest of time, but I just want to say this is a familiar place for some of us dinosaurs who have been around since the 90s, like with Doc and Mayor Stodel and a few others amongst us.
Thank you.
Some of us remember the gang wars. Hey, I included myself. Some of us remember the gang wars. The gray hair is because of him. I was his chief deputy for 6 years. But anyway, we remember when things were really dark in our community. And if it's dark in Little Rock, It's dark in Faulkner County, it's dark in Saline County, it's dark in Lonoke County too. We are not defined by our county lines or by the river or anything else. We're all in it together. And if something bad's going on in Little Rock, chances are something bad's going on somewhere else in Central Arkansas. But back in the 90s, we stood with our counterparts, much as we are here today, and we said, we are not going to take it anymore, and we're going to let the citizens of our communities know that they don't have to live in fear. They don't have to live in fear anymore. And we rolled up our sleeves, got to work like we're fixing to do and have been right here, and we took back our streets, and we beat a 111 homicide rate in 1994 down to less than half. We can do it, we've done it, and we aim to do it again. So my colleagues around the state, not just the 6 of us who are here today, hats off to Cody Highland for reaching out to us in the first days after he took office and saying, let's do something about it. Those are words that we really wanted to hear, and we're grateful to hear it, and I want to thank everybody here, so let's get to work.
Thank you, Larry. I think that with the people who have sacrificed, we want to honor them today and introduce them. I'm going to ask for our Special Assistant United States Attorneys, if you would, to stand, please. The ones that are here today. Folks, these are people that we know. These are people that most of you know. These are competent, talented trial attorneys. People who are committed to their community, people that we trust to handle the job that we're getting ready to ask them to do. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate what you're doing, and that it is an absolutely necessary part of what our plan is here as we go forward, working with our talented, and we have a group of talented AUSAs here, and I think it's going to form an incredible partnership as we move forward. But I do want to introduce them. From Pulaski County, John Johnson, Amanda Fields, and Kim Woods. Will Jones, Emily Abbott, Amanda Jegley, and Julie Benefield Bowman from the Arkansas Attorney General's Office. Bart Dickinson with the Arkansas Medicaid Inspector General's Office. One of my favorites, Joan Shipley with the Faulkner County Prosecutor's Office. Carrie Robertson from Saline County. Simber Geringer from Jefferson County, and Colby Harrison from White County. And so, guys, I appreciate your willingness to take this on. And in order to do this, we have to have the help from ATF to be able to make this happen. So, Jeff, if you want to come up for a little bit and talk to them about what your role is.
Good afternoon. I'm Resident Agent in Charge Jeff Reed of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Explosives. Several months ago, we sat and talked about the Violent Reduction Network, which is now the PSP, Public Safety Partnership, and we talked about how it would mature and how through, and echoing the statements of my colleagues earlier, how we would work together to serve the community in Arkansas and Little Rock. And with the direction of the U.S. Attorney's Office, with the additional of these 13 SALSAs, we'll be able to more readily attack the problem that's facing us here. So, with these 13, ATF is committed to working with our law enforcement partners across the board, whether it be state, local, or federal, to perfect the prosecution of these individuals that would seek to enforce their will upon the citizens of Arkansas with a firearm. That is ATF's commitment, and we stand fast to stand by it. Thank you.
All right, well, listen, clearly this is a collaborative effort. It doesn't happen unless we do that, but you always hear that. Today I wanted you to see it, and I wanted you to see the people that were here and involved. Some of the folks who didn't speak today, Justin King, who's our new ASAC for DEA, Colonel Bill Bryant is here somewhere, North Little Rock Police Chief Mike Davis, Pulaski County Sheriff's Office, Doc Holliday, Arkansas Air National Guard Colonel Chuck Viren, and somebody that I need to thank, Ann Gardner. I don't know if she's in the room. Ann Gardner is our OCDF chief and is an incredible prosecutor. In fact, she is so good that on her desk is a Spartan mask that she received as an award because she's tough as nails. And she's somebody that we can lean on in order to get this sort of thing done. And so Ann has done yeoman's work on this particular program, and I want to thank her specifically. And with that said, we'd open it up for questions. You start?
How would you describe the two gangs mentioned here, Real Hustlers Incorporated and the Wolf Street Crips? Are these the two most violent gangs in Little Rock? Is that how you would describe them?
Well, I think they are two violent gangs in Little Rock. I don't know if they would be the most, but they are certainly at the very top.
How long have these two gangs been functional or functioning here in Little Rock?
Well, I don't know. You want to answer that? Yeah.
Sorry, decades?
Yeah, very long time.
Can you elaborate how some of this was related to the shooting at the Tower Ultra Lounge?
You bet. Obviously, after the Power Lounge shooting, a sense of an acute crisis was present. Governor Asa Hutchinson, I think, called everyone together and said, let's get together and do something about this. We have to address the issue. And so Get Rock was formed at that point, which again is Diane told us was a group of folks that got together and just started busting and working hard. And today is the culmination of that work. And one of the things we want to do as prosecutors, we want to honor the work that they've done. They have worked hard over the last few months to get us to this point. And our job is to make sure that we honor that by giving everything that we have in prosecution, which is another reason that we bring our special assistants on, and that our folks have a renewed commitment to do the right thing to make sure that bad people go away for a very long time.
Your office sent out a statement that says that there was a rivalry between the Real Hustlers Incorporated and the Wolf Street Crips. Can you clarify what that rivalry was? Where did that begin? Have you guys clarified that in your investigations?
Well, I think that anytime you have gangs, there are rivalries involved, and it's just inherent in that process.
Rivalry over guns, family ties.
Territory, drugs, guns, all of that.
All of those were involved there.
Can you clarify just how many arrests were made as part of the Power Ultra Lounge shooting?
The Power Ultra Lounge? No, I can't. I can tell you that today there were 49 as a result of this operation. 49 arrests made.
Are you expecting more arrests to come from the Power Ultra shooting?
We consider that an ongoing investigation, and so probably shouldn't comment on that, but I wouldn't be surprised to see more arrests made.
Can you tell us how you identified these specific individuals, and then went about finding the means with which to get these search warrants?
Well, it's a matter of quality investigative work, which is what Get Rock did. And again, you had state police and FBI and DEA and Pulaski County and Little Rock PD that all came together, and no egos involved, and everybody pitched in and said, let's get this done. And it's just solid investigative work that took some months, because again, you have to have evidence to make this happen. And so they put it together to the point that we feel very good about where we're at from being able to prosecute this.
Were there specific crimes that they may have been associated with that you were able to then build on, like Power Ultra Lounge shooting or other crimes?
Sure, that's something that we built off of, sure, but there are a lot of things involved.
The Monroe Street Hustlers were previously involved in the shooting of Ramira Reed, which Chief Buckner mentioned. That was an ongoing dispute with the Murder Mob crew. Does that have anything to do with their rivalry with the Wall Street Crips, or does that has that sparked any further crimes that you can
Well, I don't know
elaborate on?
specifically about that. Anytime we have those kind of crimes that are committed, there's information that you gather in the course of an investigation that might play in another investigation. So.
It seems like there's a lot of DOJ support and money flowing into the Eastern District. Can you characterize that relationship with us? How true?
You bet. In fact, we recently received a Project Safe Neighborhoods attorney position that we're advertising for because of that, because of the nature of the violent crime in our area. And we have received anything we've asked for so far. They've been readily available to say, you know what, if you need it, you've got it. And I couldn't be more happy, especially with our federal law enforcement partners in dealing with this.
Has the U.S. Attorney's Office here ever authorized this many special assistant U.S. attorneys?
I don't know. That's a good question. John Ray, can you answer that question?
Not since I've been here.
Not since you've been here?
Is this something that is happening nationally to...
I don't know if it's going to happen nationally. I think that it's something that specifically, especially with one of the benefits of me coming from the state prosecutor level is a relationship and a trust with these guys standing up here. I know them, and I know these people out here, and I know the reputation, and I trust them. And so when you add that to the quality people that we have here, I'm looking forward to getting to work and making sure some bad people go to prison for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, as far as the adoptions go, I think that last year we had indicted maybe 122 felon in possession cases. Already the first 2 months of this year, I think we've taken in 70 felon in possession cases. We haven't indicted those yet, but we're real close. So we are, and most of those are adoption cases where we adopt them from the local level. But again, that's where working with Larry Jegley's office is so critical. If they can handle the case in a way that better serves the community, then they're going to do that. If it's something that we can handle that better serves the community, we're going to do that. But that's why you have that communication. And can't thank Larry enough for what he's done for us the last few months.
I was wondering, Larry, do you know if a lot of these, the gang members from the 1990s, if the people now, are they like the children of the gang members from the 90s? Are they mostly new gangs, or are they, like relatives, and it's just been handed down in families?
I can't directly address that. Chief might have some numbers and everything, but we have had some people coming out of the Herculean effort of the mid-90s, where we locked up literally hundreds of gang members at the state and federal level. But I think there is some propagation that's coming out of that experience as they get out of prison.
It's a combination of individuals being kids of some of the offsprings of the 90s individuals. Many of them have gotten out of their 15, 20-year prison sentences and picked up their old ways. Some of the geographical areas that we once saw in the 90s, many of those lines have been blurred because now you have organizations that were once rivals that will now come together and do some sort of criminal enterprise together, even though they may be shooting at each other the very next week. So those kind of splintered relationships makes it very, very difficult for us, and why collaborations and sharing of information is so important.
I noticed that this morning that Chris Alexander was also arrested. He's a member of the Wolf Street Crips. He's been portrayed by other members of the media as a former gang member. Do we know if there are others that are doing the same thing, essentially, of just acting like they're against the violence, but it appears that he's still part of the gang?
I don't know how many individuals have done some of the things that Chris has been noted for some of the prevention, youth outreach kind of things that he was a part of. I don't know if any of the other individuals were doing it to the level that he was doing, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me, though.
And two, I want to address another issue about why we're involved at the federal level. And I don't know how much we've touched on this, but I want to touch on it. At the federal level, we don't have parole. And so when we have a gun crime, that's something that we can get, depending on their criminal history and what all they're involved in, 5, 10, 15 years. And so that is something and that's real time. That's not 1/6 the time. And so that's why this is not a matter of Pulaski not being able to handle the problem. It's a matter of where best can we place this so that people that need to be up and off the street can go to prison if they need to. And that's why we're getting involved at this level.
It says in the release that various RHI members participated in the Power shooting. Can you explain what participated means exactly?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Last question, can you kind of characterize within the history of the Eastern District how massive of a gang roundup this was this morning, how big of an effort this was within?
Sure. Well, now I've been here for 5 months.
Fair enough.
So I'm not exactly the historian. But I can tell you that I think it has made an impact. And look, this is not a dog and pony show, and I know sometimes feds maybe have that reputation. Our goal is not to have a dog and pony show. Our goal is to move the needle as it relates to violent crime in our community and to make sure that our people feel like they're safe. We can't have people like Miss Rose driving down 12th Street and bullets slanting into the windshield. That can't happen. And I think that if we get the right people off the street, and that's our intention, this is about individuals. This is about bad people that have committed crimes and making sure that they're held accountable for those crimes. And so I think today went a long way, because the people that you see on that list, I mean, they're fairly influential in that community, in the gang area. So I think we made a big difference today. Anybody else? All right. Well, listen, thank you for coming. Hang on.
That arrest number, was that right? Can we just clarify that?
Sure. If in doubt, look at the handout, but the total number of defendants in the operation across 13 indictments and 2 complaints is 49. This morning, in the early morning hours this morning, 21 people were arrested. Some of them turned themselves in, but today, 21 people that were not in custody yesterday are now in custody. Last week, we didn't announce it to you guys, but last week, 14 people were arrested in part of the Robert Turpin indictment, and that information is in there. Additionally, there are 5 people